The Chicago Bulls do start off slow against the Toronto Raptors. They eventually lose the game 121 to 108. Zach LaVine in his return has a big night, 36 points for Zach LaVine tonight, but not enough for the Bulls to get the dub. We're going to talk about it all and more. Another Bulls loss right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host here, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. It's a post-game show. The Chicago Bulls are ass. I mean, I really could just end it at that. Really, the Bulls do shoot over 51% from the field overall, 44% from three-point range. They have 20 assists on 42 made baskets in this one, 12 turnovers from the Chicago Bulls, 20 personal fouls from them as well in this game. But when it all just comes down to it, this Chicago Bulls team sucks. It just is what it is. They lost the rebounding battle 40 to 37. Lost the points off turnover battle. Actually won the points off turnover battle 20 to 15. So shout out to them there, I guess. Toronto had 32 points off the bench of the Bulls, 23, and they had 17 second chance points of the Bulls, 14 second chance points. But overall, when it comes down to it, this team just, you got to actually watch the games to kind of understand how much this team sucks. We did get to see some Julian Phillips in this game. Only got 6 minutes from Andre Drummond, which is a little bit weird to me. But overall, this is just another example of how the Chicago Bulls cannot hold on to leads. They don't have enough to overcome their slow starts. There's a lot of things that always keep going on with the Chicago Bulls, but it just leads to all the same result. The result stays the same. This Chicago Bulls team sucks. That's it. Right? We can talk about Zach. We can talk about Billy. We can talk about DeMar. We can talk about Vooch. We can talk about anybody who you want to talk about. Patrick Williams got outplayed by Julian Phillips, I feel, in this game. But when it all comes down to it, listen, sucks. Maybe I'm a little harsh on Patrick Williams. He did have 12 points and 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. But, like, this is just watching this team play week in and week out every single day, right? It's just you just realize this team ain't going to turn it around. The turnaround ain't coming for this team. This is what it is. And I said this on Twitter during the game. I'm not going to call it X. I said this on Twitter. The Chicago Bulls are going to struggle to get to 25 wins this season. Period. That just is what it is. They're going to struggle to get to 25 wins this season. You can just feel it. It's just going to be one of those seasons. And then they're doing it in a year where it's not even a year where the top of the draft is even that great, right? And that, again, this team can't even fail correctly. Like, that's the biggest thing with this team. You can't even fail correctly. You couldn't wait. You couldn't do it last season. You couldn't do it next season or even have your own first-round pick when Cooper Flagg's coming in. You can't even fail correctly. That's crazy. That's where this team sits right now. We can't even fail correctly. Everything we do is wrong. We are the can't get right of the National Basketball Association because this team is goddamn awful. It's trash. Now, the Bulls are eliminated from the in-season tournament because of this, so there you guys go on that. Don't worry about it. Not that anybody had any hope or thought that the Bulls were going to do anything or go any further in the in-season tournament, but now we're eliminated from that as well. This team sucks. It just is what it is. DeMar DeRozan gets 19 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds in this game. Nikola Vucevic gets a putrid 9 points and 8 rebounds and 5 assists. Listen, I love Vooch, but this game specifically, fuck Nikola Vucevic. Kobe White, 14 points in this game, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. Shout out to Kobe White. Alex Caruso with 7 points. He only played 18 minutes in this game. But listen, when it comes down to it, like I said, this team is god-awful. This team sucks. There's nothing coming for this team. A turnaround isn't happening. Lonzo Ball ain't coming back. No, the Bulls aren't going to go on some winning streak that makes Zach LaVine not want to get traded no more. Anybody who's holding out any glimmer of hope for anything, stop it. Stop it. Stop setting yourself up for failure. It's not coming. It's not coming at all. It's not. Just like Reggie's mama's virginity, it ain't coming back. It's gone. That thing's way too far gone. It's blown the hell up. It's not coming back. Where we sit right now is where we're going to sit for the full entire season. This team is going to struggle. It's going to be ugly, and it's not going to be pretty at all. And the only thing that I could think of that may positively come out of this game, this season and how rough this season's probably going to be, is maybe it makes them reevaluate their affinity for Billy Donovan. Like I said before, are all the problems on Billy Donovan? No, I would not say that at all. But listen, to me, a coach should not get to stay around when you're seeing a team look and play like the Chicago Bulls play night in and night out. This team sucks. And I wish I had better analysis to break down the ins and outs and tell you what the Bulls didn't do defensively. They don't communicate on defense. I can tell you that. They don't they give up the back door way more than Reggie's mama gives it up. And that's a lot too. Like at the end of the day, it's just everything that you can think of wrong with the basketball team, the Chicago Bulls show it in some shape, form, or fashion. It's not always consistently. It's not the same struggle every single time. But what it comes down to is this team isn't it. And the reluctance from the front office to change this shit up has led them now to where they're probably going to have to go full rebuild. Had you made better moves in the offseason, had you been willing to move off DeMar or Vooch or anybody before now to make an actual trade, maybe you could have convinced Zach LaVine to stay then because you're doing something, right? That's what this team did. When they brought in Nikola Vucevic, it was to prove to Zach LaVine we're willing to do whatever it takes to make this a winning franchise. And guess what? Every one of those moves has backfired. Lonzo Ball knees couldn't hold up to it. Nikola Vucevic has gone up and down. It's not always his fault, but up and down. Hasn't really worked out the way that they thought. You brought in DeMar DeRozan. He's been great to a certain degree, but again, it limits other things going on around the court. Nothing has worked. And where this team sits right now is just in a place of hellfire and brimstone because it ain't getting no better, y'all. It ain't getting no better. It ain't getting no easier. Ain't nothing improving. And this is just where it is and where it's going to be this season. I would be shocked if the Chicago Bulls found a way to turn this shit around. Because this team sucks. And that's just what it's going to be. Let's go ahead and get into the comments. See how you guys are feeling. Claus says, what an amazing game. Sarcasm, I can read it and feel it in that one. Buddha FN says, give Phillips minutes. I definitely agree that Julian Phillips could definitely play, especially with where this team is right now. We suck. It doesn't matter. What are you not playing the rookie for? Because you're trying to win? I know a lot of people don't like Patrick Williams, but I do like how he was hustling, and I agree with that. I was a little hard on Patrick Williams. The first half of the game for Patrick Williams was a struggle. He played much better on the second half of the game. Much better second half of the game. Shay also sits in, you have to blame Billy Donovan because with DeMar DeRozan is not playing well, you have to take him out. Well, listen, that's one thing that's not going to happen for Billy Donovan. He ain't taking nobody out. He's not taking nobody out. So that is what it is there. Billy Ball Cheeks needs to go. That's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you at all on that one. Zachary Whitfield's in the building. He says, I'm so mad at everything, and the Raptors are classless. Listen, Raptors fan base is one of the worst fan bases in the game of basketball. And I stand on that. I don't give a fuck what nobody got to say. Not all of them are bad, but a lot of them are. But when it comes down to it, listen, their team now is at 500. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice to be there? That's crazy. JK says, this season is a wash. In my opinion, the future is very bleak. With or without Zach, this team ain't working. It's it. And that's just where the roller boils down to. BKR Sports says 12 points for Patrick Williams, man. 6 of those was in the last 10 seconds with 2 random throwaway threes. I mean, I feel you on that one. I feel you. Poto owns Vooch. Absolutely. A lot of centers in the NBA owns Vooch. DeMar was DeMar negative 30? DeMar DeRozan was negative 31. If that's not a sign for all the Bulls fans that are just married to DeMar DeRozan and think, how can we possibly move off of DeMar? He's this, he's that, he's this, he's that. Listen, DeMar, 13 out of the 15 seasons DeMar DeRozan has been in the league, the teams have had better point differentials with him on the bench than on the court. That's it. These boys got no balls. And what point do you get tired of getting your ass kicked and hard foul, punch someone in the damn face? They don't need to trade Zach. They a lot of rebound either way. I mean, listen, but the trade for Zach isn't necessarily for them to tank. It's because Zach wants to get the hell up out of here. That just is what it is. Failing correctly is crazy as fuck. I mean, listen. The team that failed, that ended us getting us the number one overall pick that turned into Derrick Rose, that's failing correctly, right? Not that they were intended to. That team was trying to win every single game, but at least they failed. They did it correctly, right? This team can't even fail the right way. Bathlor Payne says, DeMar is terrible. Zach is checked out. Get them both out. DeMar has been an issue for a year. Vooch may also be checking out mentally. The vibes are bad. Listen, here's the thing. Vooch is definitely frustrated with this team. I think Vooch did think that he'd be higher prioritized in the offense coming in. You know, he did say that he talked to this team about his role before he decided to re-sign here, and shit hasn't changed. It hasn't changed at all. So they have given up on the pathetic coach, and players don't want to be here, and fans don't care about this team. I mean, listen, the thing is, no, we still absolutely do care about this team. We care about this team. They just suck. It is what it is. Whole team played different when he checked in the game. Bobby called it on Shy Bulls podcast. When who checked in the game? I must have missed something there. Who checked in the game? The Bulls got it to a 7-point game, and Billy did hesitate to sub in DeMar, but he did and replaced Devon with him, killed the whole rhythm, and the Raptors scored 5 straight. Listen, this is the thing, though. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's crazy. Ali Fault says Billy has to go. Yes, get Billy the hell up out of there. He has to go. Billy Haize, give me some hope, man. I freaking love this team, but it hurts so bad to see them like this. I need something to hope for. Bro, I'm not gonna even lie to you. I'm not even finna gaslight you. I ain't got shit. Ain't no reason for hope for this team. Ain't nothing to be hopeful for. Ain't nothing to look at this team and think they're gonna improve. This team sucks. That just is what it is. Chris Davis says there's a disconnect between Billy and this team. Get a new head coach and fix the player development staff. It says, well, we just got the player development staff. So we can't really blame them yet. It's going to take 1 to 2 years before they really get a chance to implement everything that they want to, but we'll see. Haize, I disagree, but Billy is the problem because when you see the fact that Zach LaVine is killing the game, you take him out and put DeMar in. Oh, yeah, you're definitely nobody said he's not a problem, but he's not the problem. It's not the problem. He's not the overarching only problem with this team. Like, for example, I don't think that you move Billy Donovan off this team and bring in a different head coach and it changes much. I do think that it changes some, and hopefully you bring in a coach that understands how to utilize players a little bit better, but he's not the only problem. He's not going to make – Billy Donovan isn't why Zach, DeMar, and Vooch are all shooting career lows damn near for true shooting percentage. He's not the reason why DeMar DeRozan can't guard a goddamn – dog to save his life. Like, DeMar DeRozan is one of the worst defensive players in the game of basketball. That's it. It is what it is. He's one of the worst, period. Melvin says, refuse to watch the game because if they Acme owners are in front office doesn't care, why should I? But you're here. You do care. That's the thing. You care. And it's okay to care. I'm about to start dropping voicemails to the front office daily stating to fire Billy. And they probably going to listen to it and say, thank you very much. We don't give a shit. You saw DeMar toss the jersey. I seen him toss the jersey. I saw him rip the towel. All that's cool. And it looks good on the sideline. Like, oh, DeMar, I don't give a fuck. Guard somebody, DeMar. How about you do that? I hope the predictions of Billy being the first coach fired comes out to be true. It's no way you let him touch no new players coming in here. Listen, first of all, why is he touching? We don't need nobody touching new players. We don't need that. Well, that's not what we do here. But I mean, I would hope that you're correct in that. But listen, this is the Chicago Bulls. One thing that we can bet on is they're not going to do everything that we think they should do. Mr. Christopher says, if your team constantly does not come out to play at the start of games, that is a coaching problem. Fire Billy. Doesn't move without the ball. Those type of things. Absolutely. Absolutely. Melissa says, this team sucks. The 2023-24 moniker for the Bulls. This team is cheeks. Ball cheeks. That's what this team is. They suck. They suck. That's crazy, bro. Juan Miller says, let's play your Bulls preseason predictions for a good laugh. Bro, that predictions episode where I had all the Chicago Bulls creatives on it, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. TBO says, I'm addicted to crack, and I can even see we need to burn it down and start over from scratch. First of all, I don't know if I would have admitted that. I don't think you needed to admit that you're addicted to crack to say that the Bulls need to burn it all down. I mean, listen, if you want to share too much, that's crazy. I mean, listen, that's this is therapy session, I guess. Put the crack pipe down, my brother. DeMar plus minus is a damn lottery ticket. That is crazy. Negative 31 for a plus minus is wild. That's crazy. And people really sit there. There are really Bulls fans that sit there and be like, we can't move DeMar DeRozan. We can't. What do you mean? We have to bring DeMar DeRozan back. But he mentors the young guys. He does what? Get the motherfucker up out of here. I'm done with him. I'm done with damn near the whole. I don't give a shit. I do. Let me stop acting like I don't care. But at the end of the day, this team is absolute dog shit dookie. Like, that just is what it is. And it's not going to improve anytime soon. And that's the thing that hurts so much about this, that's so bothersome about all this, is that this team doesn't have a clear path to improve. Sure, you can trade Zach. You can hope that you're going to get some pieces back for Zach that play into your team going forward. Listen, that's all cool. That's all fine and dandy. I hear you on that. You can fire Billy Donovan. That's all fine and dandy. Get his bubblegum chewing ass up out of here. The amount of bubblegum in the city of Chicago goes up 115% immediately upon his firing. But when it comes down to it, this team is literally, it's just like Reggie's mama. All they got, the only thing that they got looking forward to them is that they suck, blow, and give up the cheeks. That's it. That's it. That's the motto for this season of this team, is that this team sucks, they swallow, and they give up the cheeks easy. That's what it is. Teams are probably look at this team and be like, yeah, that's an easy dub. That's an easy dub. This team is Reggie's mama. And that's what sucks about all of this, man. It's crazy. Aiden from Aiden's Bull shows in the building. He says, there is no hope. There is no hope. None. There's no hope. Brandon L. Jet with the super chat. Thank you for supporting the channel. Brother says, if it wasn't for you, Haize, and the rest of the squad, I wouldn't digest any Bulls content. This team is terrible. I mean, listen, I want this team to be great. You think I want to sit up here and say that my team, that the team that I love, sucks ass? No, I don't want to say. I don't want this team to be in the same category as Reggie's mama. But but that's what it is. That's what it is. Like, it just, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. I don't get mad anymore. I already know that they're going to lose. I'm dreaming we can get draft picks when we trade all these guys. I mean, listen, and like I said before, we haven't won a trade in a long time. And I think ultimately, like, I really hope that whatever happens with the Zach LaVine situation, that the Bulls do end up, when we look back on it, we say that they won that trade. Because this is the chance to kind of reset what you're doing. Now, I don't know if it's going to mean go to a full rebuild. I don't know if it's going to mean that we're going to blow it all up and trading everybody off. But this is the first step into resetting some serious things that need to be reset with the Chicago Bulls roster. Do I want to see Zach LaVine go? No. I would love Zach LaVine to finish his career out here with the Chicago Bulls. But listen, I understand it from both sides. I understand Zach LaVine's frustration. I understand where the team may sit on the situation. And it is what it is. But that's the only reason we're getting any level of change from this team. If it wasn't for the Zach LaVine trade request, we'd be sitting here in the same exact shit. Same exact shit. Billy's offensive scheme is typically fine, to be honest. The big three are not. No, what? I'm sorry. No. The Billy's offensive scheme is not typically fine. It's one of the most stagnant offensive schemes. Even when everybody's rocking and rolling and playing well, it's a stagnant offensive scheme. It's terrible. It's basically built around no movement off ball, very little ball movement itself. It's based around, let's get DeMar to the mid-range. Let's have Zach LaVine come off a screen or two, and let's hope that somebody gets open. I can't give him credit for that. It's bare bones. It's a bare bones offensive scheme. The fuck that was. Certification Pappy says, at least we hope for Denzel Valentine and Antonio Blakely to turn the franchise around. You telling me Vooch, Zach, and DeMar, coached by Billy fucking Donovan, can't even be above 500? Ridiculous. Listen, Billy Donovan, 41% win percentage being here in Chicago. He's won every other place that he's gone. Every place. He won in OKC. He won in college, but just can't do it with this team and this roster. Can't do it. Chris Carvinio in the building says we weren't even this bad last year. Completely agree with you on that one, bro. Completely agree with you. Who is the best player in Chicago basketball this year? Kalia Copper. There you go. TBO says, I love crack though, but I know it's bad for me. That's wild, bro. That's crazy. Oh man. That's where we sit right now as a franchise is just it's trash, man. It's trash. Black Prophet in the building says, "Hey, is Dan Reggie getting that pure fire? What did Reggie and his mama do?" Oh, this you got to be an OG member of the chat to understand. This goes back. This is like BLJ. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Reggie Mama thing. This is like a year and a half, almost 2 years ago at this point. I hope we trade for Jalen Green. We need some young dogs for the future. Jalen Green, that's a young dog to you. I'm good on that. Billy is calling Haize. He needs some advice. Listen, I ain't got no advice for him except get the fuck up out my city. That's it. I know you guys want to see the joke thing on me doing the phone calls. I don't have it in me right now. I'm not even going to front of y'all. I'm going to blame Pablo for this loss. F that guy from Ali Foul. Thank you for supporting the channel, brother. That's funny. This team doesn't move, bro. Even when Zach makes everything under the sun, we still can't get players to cut. Nobody cuts. I don't understand how you, as a head coach, can have a team where nobody cuts outside of Alex Caruso every once in a while and maybe some players every blue moon. But that's crazy. It's crazy, man. Trade Debo to the Heat. I don't even know if the Heat want Debo right now. Haize, you're right. It goes back to December 2020 with Reggie and his mom. That's crazy. That's wild. We're pulling up on the 2-year anniversary of me roasting Reggie and his mama. That's crazy. 2021. That makes more sense. I wasn't even around in 2020. Yeah, that makes more sense. Samir says, just leaving the game now. Vooch is Samir, did we see you dancing on the Jumbotron, by the way? Were you out there dancing? Zach is too young and too talented to get rid of him. No, he's not. Again, he asked for the trade. But even with that said, Zach LaVine is about to be 30. So that is starting to get to the point to where it's like you may have to do something. Vooch is straight dookie. That's funny. Pat finally cut tonight, and Vooch completely missed him. Then DeRozan missed him again as he was wide open under the basket. Doesn't surprise me because we suck as a team. Haize, the sad part about you saying teams coming in thinking it's an easy W is the fact that most teams play down to the competition, which should add to some wins for us. Listen, that's crazy. They probably do play down to it, and then they like, hey, they didn't want to score any of the first 5 minutes. Bet we got this win. Charles, there's not very many true point guards in the NBA. Like people keep saying this true point guard stuff. There's like 3 true point guards in the NBA. That true point guard stuff is gone. Like it's gone. People want Zach to get traded when the team is still going to be terrible. Billy needs to go. Listen, Billy got to go. Like to me, Billy got to go. I know it was over when DeMar missed the 2 free throws back to back. That is a very rare case. Vooch was right in front of Siakam and then did a 360 just to push him in the back for and one. Listen, the comedy writes itself when it comes to this team, right? Let's just be clear here. The comedy writes its goddamn self because this team is a struggle. This team sucks. It sucks. Quentin from Let's Talk Bull says, I just got off. I see I need to spend my night watching some trash. I feel sorry for you, bro. Watching it. watching it not knowing the outcome per se, because watching it live is one thing. Going back and watching the game from start to finish after you already know your team got their cheeks clapped is wild. Wild. Yeah, I know that. Zach will be 29 literally in like 3 months. So where are you going with this? He's 29, and by the time he's moved, he'll be about 29. He's closer to 29 than he is 28. Don't try to come in here correcting me, Charles. Like you've seen what's happened to people with that, right? I don't think coaching will solve a lot, in my opinion. That's a major issue for me. We've seen different situations where the roster is flawed, but a new coach will solve a lot. Listen, I think that it will solve some, but I don't think it's not going to solve the flaws on this roster. It's not going to solve the fact that this team doesn't have any heart, right? You could get some rawness up in there, but I don't think that it really changed much. Vooch really be playing like playing basketball is a complete inconvenience. He for real just be trying to go home to his wife and get. That's like, well, Nikola Jokic does too, but he plays better, right? So Rockets beat the Nuggets by 19. Udoka got them boys playing. Listen, that's what coaching does. Great coaching. Ime Udoka, he'll clap some random cheeks, but that man is a great coach. Haize, what do you think of Stacey's comment about when Zach waved off Vooch so he can take Poto off the dribble baseline and Vooch just stood in the corner? I mean, listen, here's the thing. This team doesn't play intelligent basketball. And I think everybody that understands the game of basketball has seen that. This team doesn't play intelligent basketball. Zach waving off Vooch is perfectly fine. And because he should be able to take Poto off the dribble. That should not be any case at all. But the thing is, you don't give him space, right? You got to give when a player waves off and is trying to isolate, give him space. It's just this team does not do the simple things of basketball. And that's what really hurts so much with this team. So to like Melvin and others' points, like or Vern's point, coaching would help change a lot of that because at least you could hopefully have a coach in who's going to come in and set a different tone. I want to see Zach DeMar and Vooch play better because the trade value will increase. There are a lot of NBA teams that are struggling, will be looking for help. One is going to catch fire. Listen, here's the thing. I tell you guys this all the time. Teams have years of data. A player getting hot for a couple of months leading into the trade deadline is not going to drastically increase their trade value. It's just not. At this point in time, teams know who DeMar is. Teams know Vooch and what his limitations are, his strengths. Teams know exactly who Zach LaVine is and have all the analytics and data to back that up. This isn't the like late and early 90s where like teams now have so much data, so much analytics on players that a player getting hot for a couple of months in the season isn't going to drastically increase their trade value. Not for players like Zach DeMar and Vooch who've been around and been doing their things. Like if Patrick Williams gets hot for like 3 months in a row, maybe that'll change his trade value because he's been a very inconsistent player. But for those core three players, not much is changing their trade value. It isn't. Everyone's saying DeMar needs to come off the bench is delusional. Look at our fucking coach. He's scared to bench DeMar during the end of games. You think he's going to bench him for a fools? That's hey, listen, facts. That's a bar. That's definitely that. Let's talk Bulls. The next Saw movie will feature a torture game where you must watch the Bulls play. That's crazy. Future Machiavelli says, you're right about that. The spacing was terrible. They was out there literally running into each other by accident and looking lost. And that's the thing. When you don't create spacing, right, you make the defense so much easier to guard you. They can stand in one spot. And when players are closer together, that means that one player can guard two players. And so when you have a team that's lengthy like the Toronto Raptors, it's a recipe for disaster. It's just a recipe for disaster, man. Hey, so we can end up moving Zach to a bad team that is desperate to get a star and get a top 10 pick back. Hey, listen, you can keep hoping for that. I don't necessarily know. Don't necessarily know if that's going to be the case. J Dev says Chicago Bulls play basketball like predictable exports LA Fitness ball. First of all, J Dev, did you leave a review on iTunes? By the way, but yeah, I mean, listen, they play ball like they play like shit. This team doesn't play as a team. It doesn't play as a team at all. I just say this about Bulls fans, but you guys are a bunch of idiots if you want to trade Patrick Williams right now. Damn, Shea coming in hot. Jesus. He has no value and he's on a rookie contract. Super. Damn. Hey, why are you going off on people? Really wish I can let DeMar know there's actually two halves of basketball. He really only looks interested in the second half. That's crazy. Jim Eggman boiling too aggressive, overcorrect by Billy soft ass and is chewing gum. That's funny. Tay Holland says, Haize, what do you think about Kenny Atkinson? I know you want them to find the next upcoming coach. But can we even trust them with that? I'm good on Kenny Atkinson. I just, not that it's like bad. I'm good on Kenny Atkinson though. Like, it is what it is there. But man, hey, that's this team. That's where we sit right now. Y'all have fun. This team is really trash. Like it really sucks that this is where we've come to. This is really where we've gotten to. That this team is this goddamn trash. We're 17 games into the season, and we're talking about this team like we're at game 80. Like this team sucks, and it's crazy. It's wild. It's crazy. If I see DeMar and Zach shoot contested middies on two defenders again, I'm gonna buy the next home ticket to smack both of them and Billy. That's funny. Ever since Bull Central go back and forth with Magic fans on Twitter, we have been shit ever since. Did Jamal do that? I didn't even know Jamal did that. Haize, would you want to be our assistant head coach to be our coach? Would you want our assistant head coach to be our coach? Chris Fleming? Uh, uh, I'm not. That's how I feel about Chris Fleming. Haize, I did not leave an iTunes review. Hello, I just subbed to your channel yesterday because I love your brutal, honest reviews on the Bulls. I'm Chicago born and raised. Well, I appreciate you, brother. I'm glad that you subbed here. Hopefully, you keep enjoying the content, man. And by the way, y'all, I know the Bulls season's struggling, but there's no reason for Chicago Bulls Central to struggle because of that. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 20K subscribers by the end of this year. I'm getting to the point where it's not going to happen. I understand how directly tied the success of this channel is, or the growth of this channel, I should say, is to the Bulls being a competent basketball team. So I doubt we're going to get to 20,000 subscribers with the Bulls barely getting 25 wins this season. But by the way, if you guys aren't subscribed, double check if you're subscribed. A lot of people think they're subscribed just because I post so much. My videos always pop up in their algorithm. But go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well. At this point, I think our developmental staff is dookie too, where they just came in. We just got a player the player development staff hasn't even been here 6 months yet. So let's be clear on that one. Let's just be clear on that. So that's why I don't blame the player development staff yet. That department just got created right before the season started. So we're not even 3 months into us having a player development staff. And it takes time. It takes 2 years at minimum before you really start seeing the results of having a player development staff. So Certification Poppy says, I think the best team fit wise and coaching wise for Vooch is Miami and Golden State Warriors. Weird to say, but I want Zach and Vooch to show these fans that why they get paid and win the title. Listen, here's the thing, and like I've said before, I can always understand a player wanting to, towards the end of their career, play for something more meaningful. And guess what? Doesn't seem like something meaningful is really coming for the Chicago Bulls, and that sucks to be able to say that about my team and mean it. Caruso says Stacey should become the head coach, even though he may not make it to the end of the season. Well, Stacey King's already said he doesn't want to get into. I think Stacey King would be a great coach, but he doesn't want to get into coaching. Charles D says the Bulls play like crap. Billy is the problem. He is part of the problem. Absolutely. Honestly, I would rather have any Del Negro as a coach right now. And that's saying, well, no, Vinny Del Negro was a good, like people give this bad rap to Vinny Del Negro. And he honestly wasn't like he has an over 50, he has a better win percentage with the Chicago Bulls than Billy Donovan. And keep in mind that team didn't have a lot. That was actually a rebuilding team. That was like the Bulls kind of show that was the first couple of years of Zach LaVine there. But like Vinny Del Negro had 2 41-41 seasons coaching the Chicago Bulls. We were second in the Central Division his first year here. We lost it. We made the playoffs every year that Vinny Del Negro was the head coach. Keep in mind, Vinny Del Negro, as a head coach in the NBA, has a win percentage of 53%. Vinny Del Negro is not a bad head coach. He's not a bad head coach. He's not the coach to get you to like be this team that's going to go on these long playoff droughts, but as like a transition coach that you're going from rebuilding to competing, Vinny Del Negro was a really good coach in that time period. What about bringing in Phil Jackson? The game is past Phil Jackson up. It just is what it is. Brian says, I love how Pat was going to the rim today. That's personal, bro. I don't judge. And I mean, the fact that if you like men going to the rim, I'm just playing with you. I think that's how he can easily get points from how strong he is. I completely agree. And move without the basketball. He has to. That's it. Vinny wasn't bad, but he burned his bridges here and like, well, remember he got into a physical altercation with John Paxson. So, but Paxson's gone now. So there you go. The Bulls need Jesus Shuttlesworth to turn it around. I mean, listen, I don't even know if Jesus Shuttlesworth can turn it around, to be 100% honest with you, brother. But all right, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to end the stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central. Make sure you guys are following the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. All this is also in the description in the video if you guys are trying to find it there, because I know I talk fast sometimes. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like I like to end everything on Go Bulls. Love you guys. See Red if you can, y'all. Peace.